This is Mr. Dietrich, students, teachers, parents. Thanks for joining me. Who is Kash Patel? He is the pick to be the FBI director under the Trump administration. Born 1980, New York. Graduated with a bachelor's from the University of Richmond, then later Pace University Law School. Then spent a decade down in Miami-Dade being a public defender, serving the people, representing the people who could not afford lawyers, doing the work for the common man. Later, accepts a job as a lawyer in the Department of Justice for Barack Obama. Will transition to the National Counter-Terrorist Center and work in counterterrorism. He'll move on up under the Trump administration, gains notoriety for being a whistleblower, calling out wrongdoing, standing up to the powers, revealing truth. He is the man who revealed that the FBI had been illegally spying on Trump. This gains him much favor with Donald Trump. This is probably the reason why we are seeing the media and the deep state oppose Kash Patel. He has a history of standing up to power as a whistleblower at the FBI, as a public defender, as just a common man, a son of immigrants. So here is the question, though, that we will face moving forward. Is he too loyal to Trump? Is he not loyal enough to the agencies he is supposed to serve? As a member of the FBI or various agencies in the past, was he supposed to be independent of politics, independent of the president? Some accuse him of maybe leaking information to the president while he was working in those agencies. Can he be independent of Trump? Should he be independent of Trump? Is Trump picking him because he has a connection with Kash Patel? That remains to be seen. But one thing is clear. The concept, the idea that the FBI and these independent justice agencies are independent of politics has never been the case. We'll go over that later. In a perfect world, yes, our justice system acts based on justice and enforces the law regardless of the politicians in power, regardless of the requests of the politicians in power, but that simply has not been the case since and before the inception of the FBI. The FBI has always been connected and worked in connection with the powers that be, was always influenced by a political party and often served their needs. Now, whether Kash Patel will do that or not, the criticism of him being, oh, he's too connected to Trump, seems pretty ridiculous when we have seen that the FBI has been politicized before, so what is new? But it is a fair conversation to have. Should the FBI director be completely independent? Now, the news media is freaking out. They are scared of Kash Patel. They are going full force trying to attack him, and they do not want him to be elected to or nominated and selected to head the FBI. Why is the media so frightened and terrified by Kash Patel? Because Kash Patel, once in power at the FBI, will use his resources to investigate wrongdoing as the Federal Bureau of Investigation is supposed to do. It's kind of in the name, investigation. They investigate. And one of the things that Kash Patel wants to investigate is the connection between the news media and the government, the state, the agencies. When they have worked in cahoots to lie to the American people, he wants to investigate what lies have been told and filtered from the state to journalists to mislead the public, to push specific policy, to punish certain people that should never have been punished. So he wants to investigate our government. He wants to reform our government. He wants to make our government better. He also wants to investigate and reform the connection they have with the media and the lies they may have told. And it's not just him wanting to find out what happened. It's not just him wanting to discover the crimes that were committed, but he also wants to punish the criminals, which means people in the government will be jailed, fined, prosecuted. He also wants to prosecute, jail, fine, criminally or civilly, journalists, the media. The media realizes the game is up. If Kash takes over, he's going to investigate what we have been doing, and some of us are going to jail. We have to stop him from becoming the FBI director. Now, to present a fair analysis of this, as we try to be objective in the classroom and in all matters of life, on one hand, we want a free, independent media. We want freedom of press. We do not want to censor journalists. We do not want to arrest journalists. We do not want to lock up journalists. We do not want to suppress free speech. But it is a balancing act because you cannot allow the media to simply do whatever it wants and work however it wants, because it can lie, it can mislead, it can serve their own interest, it can serve the interest of specific groups within the government. At the end of the day, they're supposed to serve the people, be honest with the people, present information to the people. And so if they're completely free and with no guardrails and no restrictions, that can be a problem. So on the other hand, we do need to keep the media in check, and there has to be maybe not necessarily a form of censorship, but there has to be accountability. That the media cannot lie, cannot work together with the government, cannot promote propaganda, and so there has to be rules, restrictions, and punishments enforced. So where is that balance? Where is it in between a free media that's independent and can inform the public versus allowing them to be too free and thus spreading propaganda, working with the government to mislead the public? As we have seen over the last 10 years, be it under the Biden administration, Trump administration, during the COVID era, when was the media telling us the truth? When were they working together with the government? What kind of lies were we told? Were they intentional, accidental? Don't know. You need to investigate that. One can make the argument, if we're on a spectrum of a completely free media versus a propagandist media, and a propagandist media, we may have leaned more towards a propagandist media, a media that is connected too much to the state. And thus we need a federal investigation led by Kash to break that up and to move more towards a better form of media. But at the same time, as Kash investigates and punishes and prosecutes, we want to make sure that we don't go too far and that we are censoring and that we are arresting political opponents. Although we've kind of already let the cat out of the bag on arresting political opponents. It seemed like 5 years ago we don't prosecute political opponents, but boy, oh boy, we now have lawfare in our system. It remains to be seen how this will play out, but that is the interesting angle. Also fearing Kash is the deep state. There's no deep state. The bureaucratic state, whatever you want to call it. You don't believe it's there? Kash wants to investigate it. Get to the bottom of it. Find out who is really running the country. Is this an oligarchy? Who is really pulling the strings? Do the people that are elected really represent us? Or is there a state bureaucracy deep, deep within our government that's pretty much pulling all the strings? Don't believe me? Just look. Yeah, we elect the House of Representatives and the Senate. We elect POTUS and the VP. What about all those other boxes? Look at all the departments. Please just take a second and scan. There isn't a deep state. Look at how big our federal government is. Do you believe every single person in every single one of those departments is genuine, honest, and serving the needs of the nation? I hope so. But if we just run a statistical analysis, there's a high probability that we're probably going to have some wrong people in wrong positions that are unelected, that can't be removed, who've been there for years and years and years, that might have more power than they need and maybe pulling a lot of strings. At the very least, it seems like we could probably investigate one of these 1,000 branches, one of these tens of thousands of federal employees, and try to make sure that everyone is doing what they need to be doing and that our government is functioning properly and serving the people and representing the desires and demands of the people. Is that too much to ask to actually try to reform and investigate? I'm not saying that we necessarily need to prosecute and imprison and jail everyone, but hey, why don't we just peek under the hood for a little bit and make sure we know how the car is running, see how it's going. A lot of parts underneath this hood. Maybe we should expect them from time to time. There's a lot going on here. Let's make sure that everything's running smooth. Whether you want to call it a deep state or not, we've got a big federal government. Now, speaking about the FBI and Kash's plan to investigate these guys. Well, why do you want to investigate the FBI? Here's a quick pop quiz for you. Off the top of your head, Please tell me the major achievements of the FBI. Go. And silence. Try again, real quick. Major achievements, accomplishments of the FBI. Go. Yeah, that doesn't really happen. But for whatever reason, you think the FBI is good, though. Why? No, but they're great. They're good guys. They're law enforcement. These poor guys. Yeah, why do you like them? What do they do? What have they done? Why are they so awesome in your mind? I'll tell you why they're so awesome in your mind. It's because the FBI, having a bad track record, which we'll go over in a second, and having a poor public image, which we'll go over in a second, has done a lot of PR work and has reformed their image thanks to Hollywood. Yeah, if you think of the FBI in a favorable light and you honor these men and women, which, look, they're serving the country, they're catching criminals. That's true, that's right. But why do you have such a honorable view of them? Because of Hollywood, because of movies. They've reformed their image. What you know of the FBI, yeah, you watch Silence of the Lambs, now you love FBI. That's not an exaggeration. That's not a joke. Think about it. One of the reasons why you look at the FBI so favorable, you're probably thinking of a movie that starred the FBI. Like, yeah, they were really cool in that movie. That was a movie. What about real life? Where was that real life FBI action? We're like, yes, FBI. No, your yes, FBI moment is probably based on a movie. That's something else, isn't it? Now let's go to the truth. These guys, track record history, not really the best. There's a reason why they had to reform their image. There's a reason why they leaned into Hollywood. And here's a list of them. Like, since the inception of the FBI, and before, in its previous creation, before it was officially the FBI, it was always politicized. It wasn't just simply a bureau of investigation. They weren't just simply catching criminals. They worked in cahoots, often with every administration,